Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. Well, this whole issue with JD Vance and his wife came up from Jan Psaki, and many of you may remember her during the Biden administration. She was the press secretary, the first one he had. Well, she said this on air that they are on the verge of divorce. Ursha she pretty much said she's not safe in that relationship. Now, online, there are people saying she already moved on to someone else. And she was on the verge of filing for divorce just before Donald Trump announced JD Vance as his running mate. So they haven't been getting along for years now. you know? And I believe it was back in August, they had a public argument at a restaurant, a loud argument from what people were saying. And I remember covering that story. So there's some issues there. And, when I see her, sometimes she looks very miserable. I can't imagine being with somebody like JD Vance, but hey, that was what she chose. So I'm gonna show you how this all started with Psaki. That's how it's gonna open up, and then it's gonna end with JD Vance addressing the allegations. All right. Shalom to everybody in the chat. Okay. Please give me a one if you can see my screen. hmm You know why I do these, y'all? Because they put our dirt out on Front Street every chance they can get. So I'm gonna put their dirt out on Front Street. It's the least I can do. All right, let's get started.
Candidate, J.D. Vance, wants to be president
Mm-hmm.
more than anything else.
Yeah.
I always wonder what's going on in the mind of his wife. Like, are you
Agreed.
okay? Please blink 4 times.
Yes.
We'll come over here. We'll save you. And that he's willing to do anything to get there. And that your whole iteration you just outlined, I mean, he's scarier in certain
Agreed.
ways.
He's smarter.
In some ways. And he's young.
Yeah.
And
ambitious.
And agile in the sense that he is a chameleon who makes
Right.
himself into whatever he thinks the audience wants to hear from him. Now, what's also true, though, is JD Vance is not, he's in some ways goodish on paper if you like what he believes in. I don't know. But I don't know that he can take the whole movement with him.
No way.
I don't think so either.
There's no riz.
It's got no riz, right?
None.
And he just is a little odd. And
Totally.
so Trump's odd in a different way. I always wonder what's going on in the mind of his wife. Like, are you
Agreed.
okay? Please blink 4 times.
Yes.
We'll come over here. We'll save you.
Y'all are trash. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Y'all are trash.
JD Vance is in the news for the wrong reasons, and that is because apparently to Jen Psaki, see here, Usha Vance, wife of JD Vance, is reportedly seeking a divorce, Jen Psaki has revealed, and the right is flipping out over this revelation, not because JD Vance may be in an unhappy marriage, not because Usha Vance might be wanting to leave JD Vance because of some of the things he said, I'll show you those in just a moment, but because Jen Psaki had the gall to say it. I also have Nick Fuentes, far-right agitator, racist, Nazi, who's attacking JD Vance from the right, saying that JD Vance is fake and everything he said about himself is made up. Let's get to Nick Fuentes first. Here's Nick Fuentes exposing JD Vance for being, whoa, how did I not know that? How did I not know that? JD Vance was JD Hamill. Did you know that?
What?
I think I heard about that, but I didn't know that specifically.
Why did I make up the story that JD Vance and Usha are getting divorced? I've noticed a lot over the last couple of days that some people thought I just made up the divorce thing because it was a good idea. No, I chose the divorce story for a very specific reason, and apparently it's not common knowledge, so let's talk about it. JD Vance has a stance on divorce that is very typical of conservatives and people who are into the whole Christian nationalism thing. Project 2025. Project 2025 outlaws no-fault divorce. So a woman cannot just leave her husband for any reason. JD Vance in 2021 made some comments in which he alluded to the fact that people, even in abusive relationships, should consider staying in those marriages because it's best for the kids. And I will put that information here for you. But yeah, I chose the divorce story with Usha stating that she was divorcing him now before she can't, for a very specific reason, because those are JD Vance's views on divorce. Conservative men, white Christian nationalism, Project 2025, JD Vance. It all comes down to the fact that they hate women.
And so I'm back. Y'all, come on, get your tea. Cause the tea is piping hot, y'all. Oh, my throat. I had to lubricate to come talk to y'all. Anyway, disclaimer. This is allegedly, supposedly for entertainment purposes only. Y'all ready? Ooh. So word on the street is, y'all, because I ain't one of the guys that Couch Boy and Slotus was out to dinner recently. And apparently it got so heated at the table that they were snapping at the servers who were coming over to take their orders, bring their food, and all of that. They have been fighting publicly. Ask me what the fight is about, y'all. Word on the street is Couch Boy is preparing to be POTUS, right? He wants to be POTUS. But Miss Ma'am don't want to be FLOTUS. She says she's out. She's done. This is not what she signed up for. Now, again, this is all what was being overheard. I doubt that they were actually fighting about that in the restaurant, but some of it probably spilled out little snippets here and there. And I ain't gonna lie, I'm here for it. Anyway, so apparently she's all like, this is not what I signed up for. People hate us. Don't nobody want to be around us. We can't go nowhere in peace. These kids getting on my nerves. You getting on my nerves. I just threw that last piece in because I just know that was part of the conversation, y'all. So anywho, I'm not here to cheer on anybody's divorce demise. I'm not. Like, I cheered for mine, but I'm not here because, you know, maybe she want to stay in her marriage. You know, maybe. I don't know. And if that's what she want, I want that for her. But if she want out, girl, call me because I got a real good divorce lawyer. Anywho, so yes, this is a what they say. This is a continuing developing story. And I will be keeping track of this. But apparently it's getting bad that they are now actually bickering in public. So don't nobody come for me in the comments talking about I'm glorifying their divorce and I'm happy about it and all of that. I ain't here for that. I don't like the people. So yes, it gives me some joy down in my soul that they're miserable because hell, we all miserable. Okay, that's it. Goodbye.
This is who Usha Vance is pregnant with. The wife of Ohio Senator J.D. Vance has shocked millions with unexpected news. For years, Usha and J.D. were seen as the embodiment of family, stability, and political partnership. They spoke about commitment, love, and supporting each other through public life. But behind closed doors, everything was not as it seemed. Months of speculation and secrecy followed until recent reports revealed a shocking truth. Usha is pregnant, but sources confirm that J.D. Vance is not the father. Friends say she has found a new partner who has been by her side, supporting her through a challenging and private chapter of her life. The news immediately went viral, sparking thousands of reactions on social media. Some celebrated her courage to follow her heart, while others questioned the timing and circumstances of the revelation. In a rare statement, Usha addressed the rumors directly, saying, "Life doesn't follow a script, and sometimes love and happiness come in unexpected ways." She confirmed that she is expecting a child with someone who has been her greatest support through this complicated chapter of her life. Her announcement divided the internet between those admiring her strength and those still focused on the public image of her marriage.
We can't ignore these lesser-known scandals about Usha Vance. First, Usha was planning to leave J.D. Vance when her husband was announced as Donald Trump's running mate. Rumors about her divorce from J.D., one particularly distressing claim, was that Usha was determined to divorce before the election because she feared she might not be able to force J.D. if he became vice president. After all, J.D. is notoriously against divorce, but all signs point to a good relationship at the moment. Second, Usha was unhappy with J.D.'s run for vice president. The second lady didn't seem too keen on her husband's run for vice president, and she also said she was in no rush to change anything in her life. What's more, J.D. had previously let slip that Usha wasn't passionate about politics. However, it's worth mentioning that Usha was very successful herself and only resigned from her position to support J.D. She wouldn't have done so if she was against his ambitions, as the rumors claim. Finally, Usha wasn't J.D.'s first wife. Some say J.D. condemned others for divorce, but he himself was divorced twice. This makes one wonder if J.D. is being confused with Trump, who did have 2 failed marriages. Usha's silence in correcting lies has created the perfect environment for her husband's critics to spin lies.
Remain in violent relationships because it's better for the women. Watch this tape. We're talking about this.
And this is one of the great tricks that I think the sexual revolution pulled on the American populace, which is this idea that, like, well, okay, these marriages were fundamentally, they were maybe even violent, but certainly they were unhappy. And so getting rid of them and making it easier for people to shift spouses like they change their underwear, that's going to make people happier in the long term. And maybe it worked out for the moms and dads, though I'm skeptical, but it really didn't work out for the kids of those marriages. And I think that's
J.D. Vance is skeptical that it's good for a woman to leave a violent relationship for herself. Then he says the kids should remain in the same relationship because your children should watch daddy beat mommy. That's insane. You don't want kids to see that. That's really bad. But especially for women, you really don't want women to remain in a relationship where they're being beaten. You should not be skeptical that it's good for them to leave. This is part of a larger strategy by J.D. and by Project 2025, among others, which is Trump's big, thing that they're planning on doing, and Trump and his supporters when they come into office, which is getting rid of divorce. They want to make it harder for people to divorce. They think too many people divorce and it's bad for marriages. Again,
how dare Jen Psaki question the marriage of the Vances? Usha Vance is an incredibly smart woman. She graduated from Yale University. Oh, wait, but she also graduated from Yale Law School as well. She clerked for Chief Justice John Roberts. She clerked for Justice Kavanaugh. She's extraordinarily smart and is capable of making her own decisions. And the decision she chose was to marry J.D. Vance, a highly accomplished person. Here's what Usha said about J.D. Vance. At the RNC. He said, when J.D. met me, Usha said, he approached our differences with curiosity and enthusiasm. She talked about how he learned to cook from her Indian mother. And she said, before I knew it, he'd become an integral part of my family, a person I could not imagine living without. They have a beautiful family. But why did Jen Psaki attack Usha? First, she's a strong woman. But second, here is why. The left fears the couple you are looking at. They fear them. The New York Times profiled several young voters who voted for Trump, but previously had voted Democratic. Let me just share with you quickly. One said, I was so impressed by J.D. Vance, the way he carried himself, how normal he appeared. Another young voter told the New York Times, I made the decision to vote Trump when I saw J.D. Vance's interview with the New York Times. He's the future of the Republican Party. Finally, a 21-year-old man, I was really impressed with J.D. Vance, especially during the debate. They changed their votes because of that couple. That's a powerhouse couple. Watch out, Jen Psaki.
Okay, y'all, I'm not one to gossip, so y'all didn't hear this from me. Just call me Miss Jenkins. So just a little while ago, I did a video talking about how Syphilitic Sid's allies and Couch Boy were going to be meeting at his house to strategize how to move forward with this whole Epstein debacle, right? Well, word on the street is, y'all, Couch Boy and Slotus ain't doing too well. So apparently it is being rumored that they are heading for divorce. Now I don't know if it's true. I'm just going off what the people is out there saying, because I don't know. This is allegedly, supposedly for entertainment purposes only. Okay, so here we go. Boom. So this all apparently started around June 14th. We know that was Syphilitic Sid's birthday and also the day of that dumb military parade, right? Well, that also happens to be their anniversary. And that's when things really started getting rocky, because he didn't acknowledge their anniversary until like the last minute. He made some comment like, "Oh, my wife will get mad at me if I don't say something about her anniversary." Okay. Then word on the street is she tired of getting booed everywhere they go. Anywho, but apparently the straw that's about to break the back. He was on a podcast on August 1st, and the topic of the whole Sydney Sweeney thing came up. And he lavished all this praise on her. Oh, how he loved the commercial, how pretty she is, how attractive, and what a great ad. And oh, those jeans are so nice. And yet, he continues to refer to her as his children's mother. I'm telling you, again, I ain't one to gossip. I'm not. But I'm here for the foolishness. I ain't saying that just because, I got divorced, and we can get into that later, that everybody, marriage and sanctity and all that. But damn. So I will be keeping my eye on this story as well. It's being reported by a couple of sources that there's a lot of friction. See what I did there? In their marriage. I bet there ain't no friction with that couch though. Anyway, okay, I gotta go.
Former White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki made some comments suggesting that your wife, the Second Lady, needed to be saved from you. How do you feel about comments like that being made while you're here with the Second Lady?
Oh, I think it's disgraceful, but of course the Second Lady can speak for herself, and I'm very lucky to have a wonderful wife, and I know, or at least I hope that my wife feels the same about me. But we are very lucky to have this journey, or I should say, I'm very lucky to go on this journey with a very loving wife. We're going to keep on serving the country together. And I'm honored to have Usha by my side on this trip in particular, but always.
All right, y'all. Now I got one more video to show you of somebody that have been very public about his feelings for Usha. And he is part of the Kennedy family. In fact, he is Jackie Kennedy's grandson, Caroline Schlossberg's son. Yeah, he's been pretty out there about how he feels about Usha, and it's raising a lot of eyebrows. So I'm going to play it for you. Hold on. Okay, where is it? It's right here. Here we go. All right, please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you. All right, here we go, y'all.
The person in the Kennedy family who wanted J.D. Vance's marriage to Usha to break up the most. The last thing he did made people angry. Jack Schlossberg, grandson of John F. Kennedy, is probably the person who wanted Usha and J.D. Vance to divorce the most, as he has publicly expressed his desire for the second lady on many occasions. Schlossberg declared Usha to be the most beautiful woman in the world. He also said under a photo of Usha and J.D. holding their newborn, "It could be us." Schlossberg further pleaded with Usha to be his by comparing J.D.'s initials to his own. Unsurprisingly, this caused a lot of controversy, with fans calling it horrible. However, this is not the first time that netizens have thought that Schlossberg's love for Usha has gone a little too far. His most inappropriate post about Usha even involved his grandmother. Schlossberg posted a poll asking who was hotter, the second lady or Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. Unsurprisingly, this caused an uproar. Some pointed out that Schlossberg was being provocative, but this excuse did not go over well with the annoyed fans. They were disturbed by Schlossberg's creepy obsession.
Okay. So this is a Kennedy, y'all, and he's been pretty out there about how he feels about Usha. So, and like I said, a lot of people are kind of looking at this whole thing like side eye and wondering what the hell is going on. But this is not the first time he's done this. He's been on videos, he's been interviewed and brought her up. And yeah, he has a real obsession. Either he knows her or they got something going on. I'm not sure. But like I said, the rumor has it that she already got somebody else. So this whole thing is really interesting. So I'm sure as time move on, there'll be more things coming out about JD and Ursha and their relationship. And, a lot of people unanimously say it's not a good relationship. So, and besides, you know what? I think if JD Vance ran for president, I really, truly do not believe he would win. He's so unlikable. I don't believe he would win. I think right now Trump has messed up any chance for another Republican president. I really do. I think the next president is going to be a Democrat because of all the things Donald Trump is doing. And so it's going to really put mud on JD Vance's name as well. I just don't see him winning the presidency. So y'all, you just gonna have to let me know what you think in the comment section about this. Yeah, I think once this term is over and they're away from Washington, D.C., I can see her parting ways from him then. You know, but hey, Donald Trump is in the same situation. He's on wife number 3. And so Ursha is JD Vance's third wife. I mean, these men, that's a clear indicator these men are very difficult for real. Mhm. So y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. So this is my final live stream for today. So be on the lookout for my upcoming ones tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful night. Shalom, family.